Welcome back and Happy New Year's! Where has the time gone? Today is Sunday, January 9th, 2022. This is Samantha, your host, and I am thrilled to be back and sharing this week's segments with you. Starting right off, we have Wesley's Question of the Week, this time checking in with our favorite teachers. Then Christopher brings us into the studio with the segment Drum Studio.
My favorite teacher is Mr. Leslie because I'm just able to talk to him whenever I need to talk about anything, and he's always super friendly. And even since I was a freshman, he's been somebody that is I guess like a mentor both for academics and anything else going on in school. So yeah.
My favorite teacher is Mr. Collins because he's a very good teacher and he teaches you a lot, but he's also like a kind person and a good guy, and I feel like I can talk to him about anything. He also wrote me a letter of recommendation, so I appreciate that. He likes basketball too, which is one of my common interests with him. So.
My favorite teacher is Mr. Rosenthal because we have a lot of the same interests, and he's helped mentor me through all 4 years of my high school, and he wrote me a letter of recommendation, which is really nice of him.
I also love Mr. Rosenthal. As James reminded me, he's tied with Mr. Collins.
My favorite teacher in this school would probably be Mr. Collins because, I don't know, he's a very down-to-earth type of dude, and he's taught me a lot of things that I can also apply to my real life and not just solely in school. And I like philosophy, which he touches on a lot.
My favorite teacher is Mr. Fisher. He's funny, he helps me with my homework.
My favorite teacher is Mr. Fisher because he helps me with my homework and he's got a good personality.
I don't have one favorite teacher because I love all of them.
My favorite teacher is Miss Knox because she makes math simple for me.
My favorite teacher is Miss Baldwin. She would always give us a lot of time for our assignments, a lot of help, a lot of extra credit, a lot of candy. She was always kind to me when needed, and she wrote me a recommendation letter.
next Tuesday, the 11th, is Drama Day. The drama students will be in the auditorium all day, so stop by to see our actors in action. Sarah returns with another episode of Fairy Tales of Old, this week discussing Mr. Miyake. Caitlin then follows by sharing all of the newest and most important information on celebrities with her segment, Celebrity Profiles. Keeping up with the theme of profiles, Ty then shares the weekly student profile.
Hello, and welcome to Fairy Tales of Old, where every week we discuss and introduce an old fairy tale that's not as well known, and review it as well as provide possible facts. Last week, we reviewed the Irish piece of Finn McCool, the story about an Irish giant and his wife who managed to trick the Scottish giant Benandonner into fleeing back home and away from Ireland. Now then, let's get into the story. This week, we'll be reviewing an English tale collected by Joseph Jacobs and published in 1890. This story is known by the title, Mr. Miyake. At the beginning of our story, we are introduced to a young boy named Tommy Grimes. Tommy was, like any child of his time, ever-changing in his attitude. Some days he was very good and pleasant to be around, where other days he was very bad. And on the days he was bad, he was very bad. Now, around the time, there was a legend that if you were a badly behaving boy and you went too far into the street around the corner, Mr. Miyake would take you. His mother warned him of this, but nevertheless, Tommy didn't listen, and one day, when he was being an especially bad boy, he went out and into the street and just barely turned around the corner when Mr. Miyake grabbed him and stuffed him into a bag upside down. Mr. Miyake quickly ran home, gleeful that he caught another bad boy, and when he pulled little Tommy out of the bag, he set him down to examine him, saying, "You're rather tough, but you're all I've got for supper. Stay right here while I go get my herbs to boil you up." And Mr. Miyake left with instructions for his wife to look over Tommy and make sure he didn't run away. Tommy, while often being a bad boy, was also very clever. He asked Mrs. Miyake, "Does Mr. Miyake always have little boys for supper?" To which she replied, "Most of the time, dear. Only when the little boys are bad enough, though." Tommy thought about her answer and said, "Is that all you have, though? Don't you ever have anything else, like pudding?" "Ah, I love pudding," Mrs. Miyake responded. "But no, we never get it anymore." Tommy, thinking up very cleverly how to escape, offered to go home to his grandmother and fetch some pudding for the two of them to enjoy along with him. Mrs. Miyake agreed, telling him not to stay out too long and let Tommy run home where he didn't ever dare venture out again. At least, not until he was old enough. I find this tale really interesting and creative in the story it's trying to tell. It was originally a bit longer, where Mr. Miyake actually attempted to eat Tommy, but I found this version a little more friendly. I really love how Tommy was able to manage his way out of a situation that must have been terrifying to be in. It was really very clever on his part. Well, I hope you enjoyed this week's story, and I'll see you next time on Fairy Tales of Old.
Chris Pilata is a senior student who attends Monument Mountain Regional High School. In school, Chris is very academically inclined. His favorite subject in school is social studies, followed by English. This year, Chris is taking AP Literature, English 12, AP US History, and Financial Algebra. Outside of school, Chris is into music, video games, and reading, amongst other things. As far as interests go, Chris is really into history, particularly American history. Chris also enjoys writing and reading in his free time. Chris is particularly drawn to 40s or 50s crime novel type of books. As far as the future goes, Chris plans on going to college. Chris states that some career paths that he might be interested in include a therapist, a professor, a psychologist, or even a writer.
There has been an updated COVID policy at Monument. If a student tests positive, asymptomatic and mainly symptom-free students may return to the building for days 6 through 10. During these days in person, students who are affected will eat in a separate space, along with being unable to participate in any extracurricular activities until day 10. Now it's that time again. The news portion of our show is right up. Starting off, there's the current events segment with Julia, which will then be followed by Caden with the national sports news. The week of drama continues. Thursday and Friday night at 7, there will be an advanced drama production. Head over for some entertainment and to support these hard-working individuals. Next up, we have Carmen, Heidi, and Adriana bringing us their segment on Michael Jackson, which is then followed by Wilbur, Pedro, and Lorenzo's segment discussing the history of tattoos.
Michael Joseph Jackson nació el 29 de agosto de 1958. Fue un cantante, compositor, productor, bailarín, actor y empresario estadounidense. Conocido como el rey del pop, sus contribuciones y reconocimientos en la historia de la música y del baile y durante más de 4 décadas, así como su publicitada vida personal, lo convirtieron en una figura internacional en la cultura popular. Su música incluye una amplia sección de géneros como el pop, rhythm and blues, soul, funk, rock, disco, dance y es reconocido como el artista más exitoso de todos los tiempos. En 1993 fue acusado de abuso sexual infantil, pero el caso civil fue resuelto fuera de la corte por un montón no revelado y no se representaron cargos formales. Jackson viajó por todo el mundo asistiendo a eventos en honor a su solidaridad. El libro Guinness de los Récords lo reconocieron por apoyar a 39 organizaciones benéficas más que cualquier otro artista. En 2005 fue juzgado y absuelto de nuevas acusaciones de abuso sexual infantil y varios otros cargos, después de que el juzgado lo declaró inocente en todos los cargos. Jackson es uno de los pocos artistas que han sido introducidos en el Salón de la Fama del Rock y del Rock and Roll 2 veces y también fue incluido en el Salón de la Fama de los Compositores y el Salón de la Fama de la Danza, como el único bailarín de música pop y rock. El artista del siglo y el artista de los años 1980. 13 sencillos número 1 en los Estados Unidos durante su carrera en solitario, más que cualquier otro artista masculino en la era Hot 100. Mientras se preparaba su serie de conciertos de regreso This Is It, Jackson murió de intoxicación aguda de propofol y benzodiazepina el 25 de julio de 2009 después de sufrir un paro cardíaco. El forense del condado de Los Ángeles dictaminó que su muerte era un homicidio y su médico personal Karen Murray fue declarado culpable del homicidio involuntario. La muerte de Jackson provocó conmoción general. La transmisión en directo de su funeral fue vista por más de 2.500 millones de personas en todo el mundo.
Un tatuaje es un tipo de creación artística que permanece en el cuerpo de forma permanente. El diseño se realiza perforando la piel con dientes y tintas inyectadas. Pigmentos en la capa más profunda de la piel. Los tatuajes solían hacerse a mano. La tinta manualmente, aunque en este procedimiento todavía se usan en algunas partes de la palabra, la mayoría de los profesionales del tatuaje usan máquinas para hacerlo. Una máquina de tatuaje impulsa las agujas hacia arriba y hacia abajo a medio que deposita la tinta en la piel. Si usted está pensando tatuarse, debe saber que los tatuajes son permanentes. Quitándose un tatuaje es difícil, cara y puede que no se quite de todo. Antes de tatuarse, debe mantener sus vacunas, sobre todo los hepatitis B y tetanus. Si tienes un problema médico como una enfermedad cardíaca, alergias, diabetes, enfermedades de la piel como eczema o psoriasis, un sistema inmunológico debilitado, problemas de coagulación, hable con su médico antes de su crecimiento excesivo de tejido cicatricial. Probablemente sería mejor para evitar tatuarse, aunque el tatuaje tienda a tener una buena aceptación social. El hecho de llevar uno podría ser impedimento para encontrar un trabajo o avanzando en tus carrera profesional. Si te haces un tatuaje profesional, los consejeros recomiendan hacerlo un lugar de sus cuerpos que puedan cubrirse con ropa. En la mayoría de los estados, los menores de 18 años no son permitidos hacerse un tatuaje sin los padres, permiso y algunos incluso requerir que los padres estén presentes. Mientras tatúan a un padre a tu hijo, en algunos estados los menores no pueden hacerse tatuajes.
Now it is time for this week's lunch schedule. Monday we are starting off with breakfast for lunch, which will be an egg sandwich. Tuesday is going to be chicken parm with pasta. Wednesday is a Salisbury steak with mashed potatoes. Thursday has options of all beef hot dog or veggie dog, and then Friday finishes off with cheese pizza. To finish off our evening tonight, we have Veer's segment on the top 10s, and then me and Dakota discuss the hit show The Big Bang Theory.
Hello everyone and welcome back to me and Dakota's TV review. Today we are reviewing Big Bang Theory. Big Bang Theory is about a bunch of nerds who work together at a college. They get a new neighbor named Penny. She's beautiful but isn't the smartest. Leonard instantly falls in love with her. Leonard has a roommate named Sheldon. He is probably the smartest one but has zero social skills.
There's another one named Raj, and while he had more social skills than Sheldon, he can't speak to ladies until season 5. There was also Howard. He was a creepy nerd. He was funny about flirting with girls to a point where most wanted to punch him in the face.
Personally, my favorite is Sheldon. He is socially awkward in a funny way. He hates human touch. Later in the season, he loosens himself when he meets Amy Farrah Fowler. They started off just as friends since Howard matched them on a dating site, but they slowly realized their feelings for each other. While their relationship isn't a normal one, to say the least, it is a strong one, as you can tell how they changed each other for the better. You can see how Sheldon starts to enjoy human contact. While he might only be okay with Amy touching him, that is the only one that really matters.
Another really adorable one is Howard and Bernadette. Penny set them up in the 3rd season, and they were solid throughout the rest. Yes, of course, they had fights and did break up for a couple of episodes, but you can tell they only loved each other, and they both struggled with their breakup.
Well, they started out rocky. They fit my favorite love trope, the nerdy boy and the popular girl, Leonard and Penny. She was too cool for him and they both knew it, but the way he stuck with her and was the friend she needed and showed her what love actually looked like, she knew that he was right for her.
They all did really exciting things, like Howard becoming an astronaut. He went for 4 months but didn't necessarily have a good time, but it would be one of his proudest moments. Amy and Sheldon on the last episode wins a Pulitzer Prize, which was Sheldon's dream the whole time.
What is a show without their villains? Well, none of them actually did anything to be considered villains. They were definitely funny antagonists. Crimky, who always tried to outsmart Sheldon, Will Wheaton, who wronged Sheldon when he was a kid and then beat him in a card game at a comic store. And finally, Leonard's mom, who made fun of him any chance she got and made sure he knew that he was a disappointment while loving Sheldon.
This show has 12 seasons and is definitely a comedy for teens and adults. It's on HBO Max. And thank you for watching. Have a great day.
That's a wrap on our first show of 2022. Thank you for returning for another year of great entertainment and for supporting our ambitious creators. As always, if you have any suggestions, we'd love to hear them. Please send us any suggestions to our email, monument.tv2021@gmail.com. We hope you have a great week, and we are looking forward to seeing you next Sunday. Same time, same channel. This has been Samantha from MMTV, signing off.